Well, we are back again today with another Hantarex Polo, this time a 25-inch on the heels of those 333-inch ones, easy to say, the 333-inch ones in the last three videos. Now this one is going to take all of our prowess and ability to try and get repaired. I originally bought this knowing all of the issues. I mean, it was fully disclosed in pictures and description of what the problems were. And I, in my hubris, I thought I can fix that. So we'll find out if that turns out to be something that I am going to be able to do or not. First impression here is that it's absolutely filthy, which we'll fix that. That's not going to be an issue. The power connector has been ripped clean out of the board, gone, ripped right out. The vertical IC is missing. Goodbye, it's not there. This diode over here that was missing, or not missing, but the incorrect one had been installed on our previous 33-inch. That diode is missing right there. So that diode's gone. There's a handful of caps. That one's missing. That one's missing. This one here has been ripped out of the board. But so we have that's missing, a couple of caps. This one's ripped out. Otherwise, those are the only real three missing components that I've been able to see so far. But you can see here that just how dirty and nasty this is. I don't know if this spent years in a barn somewhere. I don't have those details, but it's just, it's pretty nasty. And, well, there's a little preview of some of the problems. Oh, man. I'll show you that here in a minute. It did not have the remote board or the harness. Fortunately, I do have a spare, but it's the only spare that I have, so I'm thinking about not using the actual harness. Not that it really matters because, you know, if I don't have a remote board, it won't matter if I don't have a harness, but I do have a spare setup here that's complete, but it's the last spare that I have, so if I use it for this one, if we get it working, then if I get another one in the future with missing remote board or harness, I really won't be able to do much with it unless I buy another parts setup off eBay. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here with what I believe is the degaussing coil. It looks like it's all burned up. I'm not sure what's going on with that. That's kind of crazy there. I don't know if it's glue, or even if it is, it looks all burned up there. So, yeah, I mean, other than those components there, the caps, and the diode, and the vertical IC, it's really somewhat complete. The width coil is not all the way down, but it's also not loose. And yeah, I mean, it's just wasn't flattened out when it got soldered in. So yeah, we need to take off the cage here, but to inspect further. But initial reports is, as you saw there, this is completely bent out, like it got caught on something or someone tried to rip it off. I don't know, but we'll have to fix that. The main problem here is this. That is going to take some ingenuity to try and repair. It is repairable. I can recreate the traces using some desoldering braid. That's not going to be a problem, recreating the traces and doing some patchwork. But, oh man, it's going to be tough. So I don't know if this flyback arced, and we just sat there and arced and arced and arced and arced and burned up and burned up and burned up. I mean, it just completely ate away. There's so much of the board that's gone. Just only thing holding this trace on is the attachment from the leg from the flyback. You see here that this is, oh, now I just broke it. Broke it off right there. So yeah, maybe I didn't break it. Maybe it was already broken. I don't know, but that it's not good. So we're gonna have to see what kind of magic we can do on that. We're probably gonna have to fill this entire thing in with like epoxy or something and drill holes and use solder braid and stick the solder braid down. We'll have to figure it out, but this is the major issue we got to take care of. The rest of the board here looks like it's fairly decent shape. We do need to remove this shield here real quick and look underneath the power supply. Hopefully this one's not all cracked like the last ones. This should just pop off of here. There we go. And yeah. Oh, more of this kind of stuff. There's an extra cap on the bottom side here, and I think it's an extra cap, honestly. But it's not totally necessary. I have to get this off of here and see what someone's done here. Oh, they really messed that up. They really messed that up too. So you got to twist these little tabs here to get this frame off. And someone did a real number on bending them up. So let's see if this comes out of here now. You don't want to be too rough with it, but because you can cause more headaches for yourself than you're trying to fix. There we go, got it. Holy cow. This is something else, I tell you. Just this corner here, wow. So on the European 240 volt, or 220 I should say, for the 220 volt, there's 4 rectifier diodes, but on the 120 volt version for the North America, there's just 2 rectifier diodes. So that's how you can spot this real quick, whether it's a European or North American, because of the number of rectifier diodes. But I think this thing caught fire and burned, because that is completely melted. I'll show you here what a normal one is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like this. This is the part of the degauss circuit, and yeah, that's not that's not good. And there's, yeah, I don't really see any other missing components. That got a little charred there, this resistor. I think that's just dirt. But that cap is supposed to be on the top side. Yeah, see, that cap is supposed to be right there. And somebody has installed it on the bottom side. I don't know really what's up with that, because that should be, yeah, it's also installed. Yeah, it's on the same trace. They've simply installed it on the bottom side as opposed to the top side. Well, I don't know, maybe that's a factory mod. I don't recall that being that way on these other ones, but I can steal that diode there for this one here that's missing. And I can steal the vertical IC if I need to. I have a whole bunch of these, actually. Yeah, I've got... I got 2, 3... I got 2 brand new ones, 2 ones that I've robbed from Chad, so I got 4 of them right here. So there's no real issue with replacing that vertical IC. I'll probably just put a brand new one in, quite honestly. So yeah, we got parts to use for replacements, but it's going to be interesting trying to get this guy resolved when it comes to this thing. And I just kind of folded it on itself here a little bit, messing with it. But okay, well, I think the first step is a good cleaning and a good wash. Flyback is original, but we're gonna have to replace it because I'm sure that this, you know, a healthy working Flyback is not going to cause this. So we're gonna definitely have to replace that Flyback in our trails of walking the path of getting this resolved. All of our color transistors here are loose, well, except for this one here. I think it's red, green, blue, but the blue one's all loose. The solder joints for the transistors themselves are okay, but the heatsink joints are all pulled out, which is normal. That's why they wiggle like this, because you got the pin for the heatsink doesn't go very far through the PCB, so it's very easy to just give it a little bit of, and it knocks it out of the solder joint. So the neck board appears to be complete. These two gain pots aren't broken. It's normal to see the leg here of these pots get broken from these getting whacked from these adjustment pegs, and these have the better cutoff pots in there, as opposed to these ones like to get oxidized internally and they go bad. So, but the neck board's complete. We're going to have to change the socket because the focus plate is exposed to the air. The focus plate there is exposed to the air, and we're going to have to replace this neck socket because of that. That'll be arcing and sparking to, especially right over here to ground. So we'll have to change the neck socket out. Probably, maybe, you know, I have a couple of spare neck boards. We could probably just try swapping the whole neck board, but that's a bit extreme unless we have to. So I think first things first is we're going to go put this in the sink and do a complete wash on it. And then we'll start working on getting it all fixed up. So, you know, here's a before. I'll go do a wash, and we'll come back and see what it looks like after. And here's after. Squeaky clean, like a brand new board, if it wasn't for the damage and the missing parts. So I'll link down below, if you're unfamiliar with this process, I'll link down below the last video I did where I showcased how to clean all this in the deep sink and my procedure and what I do with this. But for all intents and purposes, if it wasn't for the damaged board and the missing components, this is looking brand new. And the other issues like this cap and the burned up degauss thermistor assembly over here, which I'll get to that shortly, and the reason why I think it burned up. So there's actually a couple of other components on here that are missing that I missed the first time around, and I didn't notice until after I cleaned this. There are 3 resistors in total that are missing that have been picked clean, at least that I've been able to find so far. So in conjunction with the missing vertical IC and the missing D135 in here, we are missing R235 right there. There's a missing resistor there. R234 right down in here is also missing, right there next to the flyback. So R234, R235 is missing, D135 is missing, and R133 is missing in the power supply. I missed that the first time around. So we have 3 total resistors that, at least that I can tell so far, that are missing from the circuit. Their respective circuits, I should say. Then we have the degauss thermistor is completely destroyed. Here is what it should look like, and here it's completely melted and destroyed. Now I'm pretty sure I know the reason why that happened, which I'll show shortly. Then there's also down in here R232. R232 is completely burned to a crisp in here, right there, and that's because it's directly connected to that trace that burned up. So this comes off of pin 7. So this pin here is pin 7, and that runs directly into the flux capacitor, which sends you back to 1985. Anyway, that runs directly into R232, which then runs through R233, which then runs over here to R140, which then runs over here through back to the connector here for your brightness circuit. So yeah, I'm not surprised that burned up with given the damage to the board. So that resistor is burned up. We have the 3 missing resistors, the missing diode, the missing vertical IC. But that won't stop us from doing what we need to do as far as the power supply and getting this thing as working as on the light bulb test and all that. And I also ended up acquiring a new 60 watt bulb here. It's a smaller kind for a desk lamp, but it is a 60 watt bulb right there. So we now have a proper analog for a picture tube that we can use for more accurate B+ adjustments on our light bulb test. So what I want to do is I want to completely recap this, filter caps, all the electrolytics, the normal polypropylene caps I change out, all these over here, that one up there, the one in here, the 2 down there. I want to change all the caps. I'm going to change the burned up degauss thermistor assembly, I am going to replace the missing D135, and I'm not going to worry about changing R232 yet, because it's going to be replaced when we do our testing. And now that I think about it, let's go ahead and test. Let's go ahead and test R233. So, like I said, it comes off of pin 7 off the flyback. It goes through R232, through R233, through R140, through your brightness circuit. So those 3 resistors should all be good. If you have all those resistors good and your flyback is correctly functioning, you should have a good brightness control. But we know 232 here is burned up. It should be 2.2K. I'm just wondering what it reads. It's completely open. So yeah, no surprise. R233 should be about between 100K to 200K or 220, depending on the revision of the chassis. And we get 223K, so that's fine. R140 should be 180K. 180.3, that's good. Then we also have R255 is in the brightness circuit too. So I failed to mention that it goes through these resistors over here, then it goes through R255 and then to the connector. So R255 should be 150 ohms, and we get 149, give or take. It is a little bit charred, but that's not uncommon when stuff like this fails. So I don't think I'll replace it because it does read properly. So we're good there. So that all of our resistors are good except for R232, which of course is open because it burned up. So that's good. Okay. So back to what I was saying. Okay, I want to replace the missing 3 resistors, the missing diode, the burned up degauss connector, and then I'll do the full cap kit, the reflow, because in the interest of saving time, so you don't have another 2-hour video like the last one was like nearly 2 hours. I'm just going to go ahead and do all of that regular preventive maintenance first, caps and polycaps and all the missing parts and this thing. And then we'll come back and do the light bulb test and verify that's working. And then start on replacing the vertical IC, which we don't need the vertical IC. If I'm going to replace the diode and the resistors over here, I might as well replace the vertical IC. So let me do that too. I'll get this into a complete state where everything is done and we're just ready to replace the flyback, fix the traces on the flyback that burned up, and try it on a tube. But how about that? So let me get all that work done. I'll come back and we'll be ready to do our light bulb test, verify our power supply is good, and then all that'll be left for us to do is fix the flyback stuff. Now, I also do want to say the reason I think that this burned up is because one of the legs is out of the circuit. It's completely busted there. So we had, the voltage, the degauss voltage that runs through the connector, through the coil, was only going up on one side, and I think that's what cooked this thermistor. So, I could be wrong. There could be a shorted degauss coil that did all this. It could very well have been a shorted degauss coil that did all this, but with that broken pad there, I'm not sure. I think it's more likely that it was only having the voltage go through one side of that thermistor and burned it up. And also, this is a factory mod I found out through some research that this is actually a factory mod. This cap is the same rating as what it's supposed to be in this location, but if you notice, this location here, let me grab the other one over here. It's a bit bigger cap. It's a bit wider and a bit taller. Maybe not taller, but it's definitely wider. But this cap doesn't fit the same blueprint. It's much narrower. So because it's much narrower, it won't fit on the through holes. So the factory, I think they ran out, or they either ran out, I'm assuming here, they ran out, or they couldn't acquire the correct footprint cap anymore. So the cap that they could get, that at least would be the same rating and function as the same parameters, is too small for that footprint. So they just put it on the back side of the board. So this is a factory mod. That's not something that somebody did. But it just so happens that I have a parts chassis right here that we can steal that cap from and put it on here and make it look a bit better. So I'll get that done as well. So let me get all this work done. I'll come back, we'll do our light bulb test. If all that passes and the power supply is good, we'll focus on getting the flyback situation resolved. And then we'll be in a situation where we can go ahead and try this. And as I say this, we also want to make sure that we have, since the vertical IC is gone, I'm assuming someone just robbed it because they considered this a parts chassis. You know, and also I think I forgot to go ahead and, I forgot to showcase up close all the clean chassis here. So let's do that too before I cut away. But R167 is, there's 2 resistors in the vertical circuit that you need to make sure are reading properly. And the fact that the vertical IC is missing, I don't know if it's missing because it was faulty and someone never changed it, or they just robbed it because it was considered a parts chassis. But R167 here should be about 2.2 ohms, give or take. 2.3, okay, and then R177 right here by the linearity pot should be 1.1, and there you go. So those are good. So assuming that we can replace this with a good IC, we should not have any vertical problems, I'm hoping. But anyway, so all right, well, that's about it. Let me just go ahead and showcase how clean this is now. Then I'll get all the work done. I'll come back and we'll be ready for our power supply test. So if you recall what it was like before, this is just squeaky clean now. It's not perfect, but man, oh man, it's much better than it was. So, yep, just a little hot water and a little cleaner and some compressed air to blow all the air out and let it dry, and you're good to go. Yeah, you can see how burned up that is because it comes right off that. You can see, well, maybe not. So you can see my finger under there, but the light's not in the right spot. But anyway, it's looking spotless now, so yep. And I do want to mention the neck board. I also washed the neck board. You really don't ever want to soak the neck board in the water, because you'll get water down inside here in the focus plates, between the focus plates, and they will corrode and turn green and blue, and you'll never have proper focus ever again without changing the socket out. So because we have to change this socket out anyway, because of the broken plastic here that'll let this focus voltage bleed out into the air and cause zaps and sparks, because we have to change this anyway, I went ahead and just washed this in the sink with the rest of it. So that's one more thing we have to change out, which I'll probably go ahead and do that off camera as well, because I have plenty of spare ones. So, all right, so yeah, I'll do all this work, come back, we'll be ready for our power supply checking, and then I'll get this done too. And we'll be at a point where, assuming that works, we'll just fix the flyback issues, and hopefully it's good. I forgot to check the ceramic resistors over here. It's always one thing. It's always one thing after another, or something I forget. And I've only talked about doing this work like 10 times now, because I expect to say it and then actually cut away. And then every time I say it, I don't cut away because I think of something else I got to check. So anyway, that just shows you that I'm not scripted in any way, shape, or form. So bin that's out of whack. Okay. Now we should have about 4.6 ohms on this, 4.7. 4.7, perfect. This should be about 2.2K. And the last one I thought somewhere was around 2.03 and 2.07. The last couple of ones I did, but should be 2.2. Hey, 2.15, better, okay. So, all right. Now, I dropped my controller for my test rig here. So now, with all that done and tested, let's get all the work done. I'll come right back and we'll see how the power supply works out and go from there. Oh, scratch that. One more thing I forgot to mention is I did get the connector here for the AC input reinstalled. Everything went fine, but when I disconnected the connector, I noticed that the connector is a bit burned here, like with a soldering iron. I don't know if someone tried to reflow something inside of there, or I have no idea, but this was all damaged from heat from a soldering iron of some kind. And this was kind of hard to, it goes on so difficult, and it's hard to get it off. So when I got it back in there, trying to get this off of here, it's just, you got to be careful and wiggle a little bit. And maybe that's why it was broken off in the first place. That's probably what had happened is the reason this came off is because someone was trying to get this off of here with it being so stuck, and they ripped the connector out. But so I got that done. So okay, now let me get this stuff done. We'll come right back. Well, here you go. All of the electrolytics have been changed. All of the polycaps have been changed. All of the rework has been done. All of the reflow has been done. All of the missing components are replaced. I got the neck socket replaced. What else? All the reflow and repair and stuff on the neck board done. I got all the missing pegs installed on the neck board and the remote board here, and then the brightness pot was missing, so I put a new brightness pot in there. Okay, so I also got the flyback out, and believe it or not, there's only 2 traces affected with all of this damage over here. But let's go over the list here. Okay, so in all of my haste to try and get this started here, I forgot to test the HOT. So we will test the HOT right now, and it is the original one. Looks like an original one anyway. It says Morocco on it. And there's a couple other things. I got all the missing parts replaced, and I'll go over them here shortly. But HOT, okay, on diode mode, negative in the center, and should be 0.5 voltage drop to each outer leg. So this one, 0.5, other one, 0.5. Okay, so HOT does not read faulty. And we didn't check the fuse. I mean, with this type of damage here, you would expect the fuse to have blown, but it's not. So if we check the fuse, it's fine. No problem, 0 ohms. We can pop it out just to be sure. Like the G07, I think F901 will read good, even though it's not. It can be open, it'll still read okay. So you take it out of the circuit, but out of circuit reads just as good anyway. So, all right, put the cover back on. I got the power connector reinstalled. I think I mentioned that. The degauss connector. I got the degauss connector re-soldered in, and I replaced the burned up. This burned up, destroyed one is out, and I got a replacement installed right here. And actually, underneath this, the board was cracked. So right across, maybe you can see. Right across here, it was cracked. But the only joint that was affected was across here, which I put a jumper, and then across here, which I put a little solder blob across there. So that was the only crack that I found. I painstakingly looked over this entire thing, and that was the only crack that I could find. So I think we're okay for that. Well, fingers crossed, but we got that done. What else? The C109, this capacitor in here that they had on the bottom side, it's the same rating as this one, a 0.01K, 630 volt 0.01K. So I pulled that one off the donor chassis and got that correct one installed there with the right footprint. So this one I took off the bottom side of the board, so we don't need that anymore. What else? R133 has been replaced. Got that installed. D135, got that diode installed. I got the vertical IC installed, all soldered up with the clip. I had to pull a clip off a donor board. I've got the clip on there. I can see the brightness pot on the remote board I had to replace. I got C181 and C177 replaced. R234 and R235 replaced. I got the neck socket replaced with one from a donor board, so that's good and done. All of that turned out real nice, so that's good. All that's left really is to repair all of this. Replace the R232, which I have a replacement right here, so no issues there. And that's going to be about it. So it's very important. Let's go ahead and just take R232 out of here. And the other side of that is here. Okay. And I put my tweezers away thinking I was not gonna need them anymore, and of course I did, but that's all right. Okay, so this, holy crap, this is just destroyed. Destroyed. So, yeah, and then of course, when I took the flyback out, this piece here that was charred fell out. That was, you know, still hanging on for dear life in there, but that's okay. Here's the old NIC socket that had the broken piece there for the focus. So, all right, so all of the major work is now done. I also loosened up the solder joints for this and flattened it out because it was sitting kind of cockeyed for the coil. But gave everything else a look over, reflow, caps, couldn't find any cracks or damage and all that stuff. So other than the Flyback and R232, getting that situated, we're basically done. I just got to get that taken care of here. So when you have issues like this, it's very important to get rid of all the carbon, because the carbon is conductive and it'll arc over to the carbon damaged areas. So I got my little scratch pin here. I'll put a link down below, and I'll put a link down below for all the part numbers of all these polycaps that I change out on all these. So these polycaps get changed out because a lot of them will fail and cause the HOT to short. So you get a shorting HOT and you'll change it out and can't find any problems, and it's one of these polycaps that goes bad. So I just change all the polycaps in the horizontal circuit, the major ones, the major players. Like I don't change like these ones out, and that usually is a little preventive maintenance. But okay, so we got a little scratch pin here. We're going to try and get rid of most of this carbon. We're not scratching with any fervor. We're just kind of surface scratching all this away here. And I don't really know how well this is going to work, but you want to kind of get rid of as much of this carbon buildup as you can. And believe it or not, there's only 2 traces affected. This trace here, and then the missing pad there. So with all this damage, there's only 2 traces that are affected, believe it or not. So we'll just try and get rid of as much of this surface carbon as we can. Okay. And I'm going to need to wipe this off over my trash can. All right, now I'll have to clean the mat off here too, but might as well wait until we do this side. Okay, same type of deal here. We're not going full out, just kind of getting rid of the surface carbon here. All right, that'll be sufficient. And look at the end of my tip here, how black it is. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Okay, now I need to clean off my mat here because I don't want to get any of that fiberglass in my hands. Trust me, it sucks. Okay. And take a rag here and clean this off. Okay. So here we go. How do we fix this? Well, believe it or not, the only traces that are affected are this, where, let's see. Yeah, this one here is completely gone, and it goes right to there, which is the ground. So there's a missing ground point here. So this hole that's missing goes straight to another part here that's missing. Then you have this trace here that runs around over to here. You can still see part of it right here. It runs around over to here. So we have to reconnect this joint to this pad, and then this leg has to connect to this big trace here. However it needs to happen, that's all we have to do. So if we were to grab a new Flyback, and set it in place, if the legs weren't all bent up already. Got this. This leg is out of whack. And this leg is out of whack. You're sure your pins are straight before you try and put these in. That seems okay. We obviously have extra leeway with this, but so if we try and set this in place here, which obviously is never that easy. Oh, you dirty, rotten bum. I had it in there. Okay, so the back ones are in. How come the front ones aren't falling in? There we go. Okay, that's in. And there's our ground. So let's grab some solder and just kind of tack these in here. That should stay. So let's do this one and this one. That one. No connection on that one. And yeah, so we can go ahead and I guess try this. Okay, that'll work, but we'll cut that. Well, now we just need to figure out how to connect. We got to connect this to here and somehow connect yeah, there's another. So that ground point here, hang on, let me zoom out a bit. So this ground point here, it goes over to this. Okay, so this leg has to go to this leg of R232. Okay, so we got to reconnect, and that doesn't actually go to this. I was mistaken. It's this own trace here. This trace here that runs to that one leg of the burned up R232. So we have to reconnect that to R232, and then this one needs to reconnect to this big trace here. So we got to reconnect this to here, which we could do with just a piece of solder braid. I could cut up and trim a piece of solder braid to come around this way. That might be what we have to end up doing. And then we probably are going to end up having to do the same thing down this way for R232. And it's going to be fun trying to do that. So we almost have to install R232 in there, but I want to do that last, I guess. Let's work on this trace here first. If we get some braid, and we'll have to cut it. So if we were to, I want to cut this braid in half here. Or maybe 3/4. Not sure how well this is going to work, but we're going to try it. It doesn't need to be that long, just around to over here, which I think we can do this and that. Okay, now we need to fill it with some solder so we can work Work it, girl. Do your thing on the runway. Give a twirl. Let's see if we can just something like that. That's all we have to do. Now get off of there, thank you. Now we have a nice little jumper that we can use like so. We can just solder this to here. And we should be able to bend and maneuver this around this way. Straight to there, but I do want to scrape away some of that, because I want to go straight to the pad here. Okay. Just an old-fashioned love song, one I surely wrote for you and me. And, okay, I think that is going to work. Now, whoever has to change this flyback in the future, you're going to be, it's not going to be too difficult, but you'll look at this and go, what did this moron do? Well, you should have seen it before this moron worked on it, I'll just say that. Okay. Boys and girls, I think that will work just fine. I'll put a little bridge across here, like so. Heat that up, heat that up. Put a little more solder on here to keep it rigid. And voila, that trace is fixed, just like so. And the problem is with this high voltage like this, you're probably going to want to put some type of epoxy over it, or yeah, I got some paint, but it's kind of congealed in the little deal I got for it. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So let's see if we can just kind of move this over a little bit. Not too much, that's fine. Okay, one left. We could probably just use the full braid here for this, but we could probably create our own little solder pad too by pushing it through the braid. That didn't work out too well, but just an old-fashioned love song coming down in 3-part harmony. That worked well, didn't it? Well, let's see if we can kind of tin this. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. No, you probably couldn't see that, but I just add a little solder to this. And there we go. Now, if we... No, that's just not going to work. That is too thick on there. I want to use this for rigidity. Like if I add a solder to this, it's rigid and it doesn't move. Like this is solid. This is rock solid. You don't have to super glue this down. This is rock solid on that. It's not going to go anywhere or move over and migrate and touch something. That's rock solid on there. That's why I want to use the solder braid. But it's too close inside the... It's too close in here. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut that. I'm going to add solder to this so it's easier for me to cut it. And then I'm going to cut this to length in half. Or a little further than that. Okay, now I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to cut this like so. And I'm going to have to cut this in half. And it's going to be easier to do when it's tinned with the solder. this thing is giving me fits here. But I think that should work. Trim a little braid for me. So we'll get that to stick on there for a minute. Then we can bend this around. And yeah, I think that will work. Just like so. Right there now. Oh, actually no. No, I don't like that one bit. Not one bit. Let's see if we can just fold this in half. How about that? See if we can fold this in half. There we go. That's better. Now I need to add solder to it, and we're going to use this to hold on because I don't want to burn me fingers. How can we sleep while our beds are burning? Okay, I realize you couldn't see that, but I was just adding solder to there, sorry. It's hard to zoom in and out and zoom in and out and zoom in and out when I'm doing this, but okay, so we have basically folded this over on itself, and damn, that's still hot, crap. I want to kind of set this down on there. There we go. And I think that's going to work, but we need to kind of massage it into the area where it needs to go. But I think overall that's going to work. Yeah, let's throw a little bit more on here. Okay. Now we need to get the resistor and install it. And I get sick when I'm around. I can't stand to be around. I hate everything about you. Well, the first little piggy was a grade A student. His daddy was a rock star named Pig Nugent. Earned his master's degree from Harvard College. Get in there. Huffing and a puffing down on Venice Beach, getting paid money for religious speech. A tri-level mansion, Hollywood Hills, daddy's rock stardom, paid for the bills. Then one day came the old house smasher, the big bad wolf, the little piggy slasher. Little pig, let me in, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Little pig, let me in. Well, I'm huffing, I'm puffing, I'll blow your house in. Huffing, puffing, blow your house in. Huffing, puffing, blow your house in. Huffing and a puffing and I'll blow your house in. Well, the wolf fell dead as you can plainly see, and that's the end of the story for you and me. You still give a listen, you just may. Hear the big wolf and little piggy say, little pig, let me in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. They sent out Rambo. Yo, Wolfface. I'm your worst nightmare. Okay, that is really good here. I think that's going to work. It's not beautiful or perfect, but I think that will work. That is, it's not, you know, rock solid, but it's super. I mean, look at it. I'm pushing on it. It's secure. It's nice and rigid from the solder. It's not going to go anywhere. I do want to. I mean, you are going to have some vibration, but I think it's going to be fine like it is. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I would consider that a success. So let's actually fill. Let's Uncle Phil this in here just so it looks better. Not necessary whatsoever, but let's see if maybe we can make it work here. There you go. Ha ha ha. See, it works out. Now, let's do a little continuity testing. If my meter leads weren't caught on everything on the planet here. Okay, so we need to test this one to here. Good. 4 ohms, that's not good. We want 0. There we go, 1 ohm, okay. Let's test this to here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, see, that's why you test. It must be broken somewhere here. From here to there is good, but from here to here is not. Interesting. Must be broken somewhere around there. Well, that's why we have to test. Try again. Okay, here to here. Nope. Here to here. Good. So it's got to be right here. It has to be. And just for I just put it away, but just for a proof of concept, if we grab this one, and we go here to here, continuity. So, yep, we're gonna have to figure out why this one doesn't work. And I'm sure, no, it doesn't even go to here. It's cracked somewhere? It doesn't even go to here. Okay, yeah, so somewhere between here and here. Let's add a little bit to this joint here. That'll work. So where is it broken here? No, because it goes to there. It goes to there. What in the world? Hang on. Is it just a dry joint that's playing tricks with me here? No. What in the world? Leads are good. Where is it? Oh, so it's right here somewhere. It's right here somewhere. Sorry if you couldn't see that, but see, it's good. It's good to there. And then what? What in the world? Now it's good? No, it's not. Okay, well, I got to find out where this is broken. You know, ultimately, we'll probably just put another solder braid on there, but I don't want to do that unless I have to. We'll just expose that whole trace. I'm not messing around here. And I don't see anything. Every time I get up, my leads get caught on everything on the planet. So, let's try this again. Here to here, to here, to here. No. Three ohms. 0 ohms. Something is wrong here. It's probably going to be easier to just run another solder braid, but here to here, 0 ohms. Here to here, 14, 21, 29. So, yeah, there's this. I think this area here is compromised. We could probably grab a piece of component leg, quite honestly. Let's do that. Let's grab a piece of component leg and just bridge that there. Actually, yeah, they're all down in the trash can, so let's do a little bit more grinding on there. All right. We'll tin that up and we'll tin that up. Reflow that. And now we'll just simply add a leg here, bend it at a 90. And, well, I don't want it to be that long there. Let's go like this. Okay, and we'll trim it there. And by Jove, I think that'll work. Let's test it now. No. There's a... Oh, did you guys see it? I didn't see it. There's a crack right through here because we don't have continuity here either. There's a crack right through here. I can't even see it. Can you see it? Let's zoom in a bit. And I looked for cracks too. Granted, I didn't look too hard around here because I had to do the rework, but it's right there. Right through there. Oh, Lord. Well, that's why you test for continuity. You don't ever want to assume it's good, so we're going to have to trim that up. You still give a listen, you just may hear the big wolf and little piggies say. And I want to bridge these two here. Come on. There we go. So that should go up through Yeah, we'll test the rest of that, but now I need to grab another component leg here and tin all of this up. And we're going to put a little bend in that. That's too far. Go right there. Okay. And you barely even saw that, sorry. All right. Okay, now I don't want to hear any more out of you. Let's get this done here. How about now? Hey, now how about from here to here? Hey, all right. Here to here, yep. Here down through over to here, yep. Here to here, yep. We tested that, good. That's no connection. This one goes over to here. This one runs to here. This side of R232. There's no way that wouldn't be any good. Well, I think that is gonna do our repair here. I gotta clean all this chutzpah up here. He's got a lot of chutzpah. He's really quite hip. The parents pay them oil, and he gets to keep the tip. How you doing, Bernie? Oy vey, oy vey. How you doing, Bernie? Oy vey, oy vey. And all the goyim say is pretty fly for a rabbi. He shops at discount stores, not just any, will suffice. Cause he won't pay retail price. He never acts sugar and he's hardly a schlemiel. But if you wanna haggle, oi, he'll make you such a deal. People used to scoff when they say mazel tov. He's such a mocker cause he worked his tuchus off. Yeah, he keeps his cool. And teaches shul. What's not to like? What's not to like? And he never eats pastrami on white bread with mayonnaise. So grab your yarmulke, the one you got for Hanukkah. Let's put on our yarmulkes and say, hey, hey, do that Hebrew thing. I think we're golden here. Clean all this out here. I think for testing we'll be good. I'll come back through and paint all this and touch it up later, but I talked about how you want to worry about, spark gaps and voltage jumping and things, but I think for this instance we're probably going to be okay because, these pads are this close under normal circumstances anyway. The traces aren't exposed, but the pads are close to each other, so I think we'll try it. If something starts arcing or going catastrophically wrong, we'll just turn it off really quick. But what makes me wonder here is that there's another visible mark there, and I wonder if those are correct. Please don't. Please. I'm not in the mood for more of this stuff here. Here to here. Oh, God. What about here to here? Nope. Cracked. Cracked. That's good. Nope. Two more right there. Oh, man. Well, let me fix these two just the way you saw me fix the other ones. So for the sake of time, let me fix those and I'll come right back. And if I'll do some more testing. And if there's any more than just those two, I'll fix those. But I looked over all of this for cracks, didn't see any. I didn't look over here because I knew I was going to have to go through and do all this work. So I probably should have done that. I probably should have done that beforehand. But yeah, there's two more here. Because it looks like it goes up this way through there. Yeah. But this is good. Well, actually, what about here? Because it looks like there's a crack through here. That's good. It looks like there's a crack through here and a crack through there. So the crack could be here or there. Well, let me fix this and I'll come right back. Okay, so I've got the traces repaired here. Everything's good to go, and I did not find any other open traces or cracks. I checked every solder joint in this whole area, and I could not find anything wrong. This whole section here is good to go. I did a visual inspection on the rest, couldn't find anything, so I believe we're going to be good to go, fingers crossed. You know, I said that before, but then I ended up finding, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more cracks, so yeah, fun times. So with all that fixed, I have preemptively lifted this leg of TP6 out so we can do our light bulb test, and I also got the G2 wire and focus wire soldered into the board here for the new Flyback. So if the light bulb test works, we should be hypothetically ready to test this on the tube. So yeah, let's grab our new 60-watt light bulb. And with this being an incandescent, I should be able to set this to 138 preemptively, and it should be close to 138 when we actually fire it up. So let's see. It's a, well, it depends on the wattage. So it's not just the, well, yeah, it's a 60-watt bulb, but we'll find out here shortly. And we got to hook up the red to here as well. Make sure it's not touching the frame, okay, or anything else. That's good. Go to volts DC and okay, power. We gotta grab power here. It's all wrapped around every other freaking wire, as is normal. And okay, there we go. Well, boys and girls, friends of all ages, let's see what happens here. 1, 2, 3. Nothing. We have nothing. Oh, you've got to be shitting me. More cracked joints? Weird. I checked, trust me, after the last 2 out of the last 3 that I've worked on had cracked joints right here on this heatsink. I checked this thoroughly, trust me. But what's odd is that now it's not, maybe it was just, hang on. Maybe it could be just this B plus pot is dirty. Let's wipe it. I think I already wiped it back and forth, but we'll just wipe it back and forth here. Set it back to the middle. Okay, try again here. Yes. And, interesting. Well, maybe it was just a B plus pot was dirty. I'm going to go with that. Let's go with that. Okay, let's turn this to 138. And we'll see how well this light bulb test works by putting this to 138.5 and then seeing what it comes up with on the actual picture tube. So, okay, functional power supply. One little hiccup there, which I think was just a B plus pot needing to be wiped back and forth, but let's go ahead and reconnect that TP6 and we'll short it to the frame just to dump all the B plus so we don't get a little jolt here. And there we go. And we'll solder it back in right now, because otherwise I will forget if I start putting stuff away. And actually, no, I forgot. I'm chronicling this for Facebook. I'll post on the pages there for the monitor stuff. So let me get a picture here real quick of this working. If I had half a brain, I would have remembered to do it while it was running, but I only have a quarter of a brain, so there we go. That should be good now. Again, once again. And on. There we go. Okay. All right, bear with me here. I'm gonna snap a cap here. Deet. All right, boys and girls, sorry about that. All right. Okay, voltage dumped. And successfully soldered back in. And I think that makes us ready to try this. I think so. Well, 138.5, remember that. We're going to hopefully be somewhere close to that without having to adjust it again if this turns on and operates. So we'll clear out all this junk. We got this burned up trace, the bad neck socket, the burned up degauss thermistor, the burned up R2, what was it, 32, and this cap that was on the bottom. So I'm going to throw these in the garbage. And we need to hook up, actually I'll wait till we get this on the tube to hook that up, but okay, well, here it is. Oh, and our suspected faulty flyback. Not even gonna try to see if this works or not. We're gonna put this right in the garbage. Okay, so, and I need to move these out of the way. And yeah, if this ends up working, then when we put it back together after it is working, then I'll work on getting these back together properly. So, okay, let's grab a tube, hook it up, see what happens. All right, so we are all set. We got anode, neck, yoke, ground, power, video remote, the Critical 7, all connected. We have our TPG hooked up here just in case it does work. We'll get to see what the image looks like, so we'll turn that on. B plus is hooked up onto TP6 and ground. So we'll see what happens. Does it turn on? If it does turn on, what's the B plus going to be? If it does work and operate, what's the image going to look like? Are we going to have collapse? I don't know. But we're all hooked up here, remote harness and everything, so fingers crossed. Once again, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 140. And it freaking works. Do you... Our little guys, I don't believe it. Look. We're going to turn our brightness all the way down. We have functional brightness control, contrast, functional contrast control. We're going to turn up our screen pot until we get an image down until we can barely see it. Brightness back up until the background is no longer black. Right there, back down until it just is black. Then we'll do contrast. And we are way out of focus as expected. We'll adjust our focus here. Ooh, hot diggity and shazam. Phase needs to move it over a bit. Right there. Image is nice and stable. Do have linearity, which we'll have to adjust the linearity vertical. Vertical position. Shift that down a bit. There we go. Vertical size. That's good. H size, which they refer to H amp. There we go. What about our... Whoa! Oh. My lead fell off the test point and touched the frame. Nice little spark. That's what that was. It wasn't anything with this. This fell off my test point and touched the frame. But I pushed this down so far that I can't get a decent connection on it here. And I need to be able to have that on there. I'm sure there's somewhere else I could... Here, let me find somewhere else to hook this up to, because we need to adjust that back down to 138. It's at 140. So we are 1.8 off. So if we want to go to 138, we need to adjust this to like, well, this is hooked up what, to 136.2. I don't know. I can't do math. It's literally 11. I've been working on this since 6 o'clock tonight, and it is 11:46. So, yeah, it's almost midnight. Anyway, yes, it works. I can't believe it. First try. Honest to God, first try. It works. So if we look at this one, where can I? TP6. The output of that runs to. That runs to that jumper. Okay. This jumper right here. Success. Okay. Unsuccess. How about that one? Okay, let's try that one. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Back on. Well, nope, that's not right. 12 volts, it says. There we go, 140.6. Man, okay, let's adjust this down to 138. We'll go 138.3 is fine. 4. Look at that. Okay, RGB. Yes, gorgeous. All right. Okay, well, let me get the camera on the tripod, and we'll put a actual PCB onto the test rig up here, and we'll see what we can make this look like with an actual board. All right, so I got an ambient light source over here, so I can at least see the controls for the remote adjustment board, and I killed the overhead light here for the test rig. I got Mortal Kombat 1 PCB plugged in, so let's see what we get. Now, it's going to be a darker image because the TPG puts out a higher video output amperage, so it's going to be a bit darker, but let's see what happens here. 1, 2, 3. Comes right on. And hey, there we go. And not too bad. Okay, it's too bright because we can see the background is blue. So we want to turn the brightness down until the background is not blue anymore. Turn our contrast up a bit. That's fairly good. And let's turn our blue down slightly so I can turn brightness up a little bit. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Let's try sharpness, just a little tweak here. Oh! I lost my control here. Oh, it's way too blue. Green. There we go. Red. Contrast is too high a little bit. Okay, H shift. I can't see which one that is. That's vertical hold. That's width. I can never remember where these are at. H phase. Okay. That looks pretty good. A little bit too green in the gills. What do you think of that, boys and girls? It looks a little bit too blue in the camera, and in real life it's not that blue. We'll try turning it down a little bit. Well, I would say we have another successful repaired Hantarex Polo. Gorgeous. I don't believe it, but I'm looking right at it. I have to. This is, oh my Lord, it looks so good. I love these things when they're working. But, you know, there you go. You saw the whole video. You saw what we did. Successful outcome. So not much else to say. Like always, hopefully you learned something. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you comment down below, and also check out the description where I put a link to the sanding pen that I use and all of the parts for the caps and stuff I change out. So any questions or anything, make sure you comment down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time.